Do I even need to press play, guys? I mean, one of the things we've prided ourselves on this channel with is not judging books based on covers, but every single time we are hit with the stereotype, bruh. It's always nonsense. It's always nonsense. So I'm gonna give a shout out to Sinatra Says for covering this. I checked his out and was like, oh man, I can definitely do this better. And Trevor Noah, he reposted this. This is Kimberly Jones from, what was that, Dave from David Jones Media. I don't know who or what that is. But yeah, let's see if she has any insightful and substantive thoughts to bring to the conversation. Let's go. Go.
So I've been seeing a lot of things talking of the people making commentary. Interestingly enough, the ones I've noticed that have been making the commentary are wealthy black people making the commentary about we should not be rioting, we should not be looting, we should not be tearing.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop you right there, KB. Do you mind if I call you KB? I'm gonna call you KB. KB, wealthy black people have been the ones that have been encouraging all of this. From your Ice Cubes to your to the entire NBA situation, yeah, they're the ones that have been really pushing this on the back, the entertainment class. We've gone over this on the channel several times. These entertainers are not intellectuals, but they have, and that's a big part of the reason why they are given the audiences that they are. So, these non-intellectuals can explain things to non-intellectuals that and basically lead them any which way that they want, and it gives them all the right, all the power that they need. It really does, to sit here and justify their nonsense. So when it comes to the wealthy amongst us, yeah, they've definitely been supporting this and pushing for this.
Our own communities, and then there's been an argument of the other side of we should be hitting them in the pocket. We should be focusing on the blackout days where we don't spend money. But I feel like we should do both.
Of course you do, because, you are a woman. I mean, I hate to sound sexist about this, but, I mean, facts is that, why not? More. Isn't that how the feminine brain works? We've had this conversation on the channel on several occasions. You are generations deep, because I have absolutely no doubt she's like, from one of these, she got kids without question. She's more than likely a single mom. I mean, just the numbers being what they are. So, as far as you're concerned, there's no such thing as a bad idea when it comes to this, ladies. And when it comes to, the blackouts, and we just won't spend money, sweetheart, capitalism beat that upside the head 40 years ago. Okay, like capitalism really knew how to finagle all the little revolutions and whatnot, what have you, by commercializing them. And that's exactly what they've done. When you have the media, when you have the corporations, when you have all of these people, we're screaming Black Lives Matter and all this other nonsense. That's all this other nonsensical gibberish that the women in the alphabeticals have, taken and said, yes, we must take to the street and provide cover for Antifa. Then you end up with all this nonsense. See, it's all off the table. It all needs to be off the table. You need to come back to the table, actually recognizing where you stand with things. But no. That's just not how it works.
And I feel like I support both. And I'll tell you why I support both. I support both because when you have a civil unrest like this, there are three types of people in the streets. There are the protesters, there are the rioters, and there are the looters.
And guess who police can't tell the difference between, huh? So it's just like with that Sandridge video that I recently did. There is no, if you go out there, you out there. And the police can't tell the difference if you get locked up, particularly protesting how, oh my goodness, black people are disproportionately locked up. Like, well, surprise, right?
Protesters are there because they actually care about what is happening in the community. They want to raise their...
Yeah, that's bullshit. That's 120% bullshit. They don't give a damn. They think they do. And that's the craziest part about this. if you sell yourself a lie, if you've lied to yourself enough to believe it, then whenever you tell it to somebody, it becomes the truth. So they've sold themselves this lie that, oh my goodness, we're being hunted in the streets. Thank you, LeBron James, and the like. And it's like, no, it's far from the truth. You've ultimately been brainwashed.
And they're there strictly to protest. You have the rioters who are angry, who are anarchists, who really just want to fuck shit up, and that's what they're going to do regardless. And then you have the looters. And the looters almost exclusively are just there to do that, to loot. Now, people...
Why do I feel like I'm in a grievance studies class? Sweetheart, you are doing your best to overcomplicate this. And that's really what women are fantastic about, overcomplicating this. Guess what? Law enforcement, is going to simplify it. You out there, you on the other side, whatever they catch you doing is what they catch you doing. As far as, oh, well, there's levels to this. There is no levels. Because y'all want to sit here and put everything except for what would really go to help fix these communities at the forefront. We need to be fixing the family. We need to be making sure economic mobility is a real thing in a lot of these communities. That should be the job. We should be ending the drug war. It's useless. It's pointless. Not just cannabis legalization, but the entire thing. That's where the true change can happen. That's where the true change lies. But you spent the past 50 years filling these places with people such as this, women such as this, who are just like, yeah, shoot, we got to take it to the white man and all this other nonsense, reading they throwback books. And it's like, sweetheart, no, we do not live in that time. And what you didn't do was adjust for that time.
Like, well, what did you gain? Well, what did you get from looting? I think that as long as we're focusing on the what, we're not focusing on the why. And that's my issue with that. As long as we're focusing on what they're doing, we're not focusing on why they're doing. And
no, what they're doing is committing crimes and putting themselves in the exact same position that George Floyd and Jacob Blake and all these other endless people have done, which, it's just cyclical thinking, right? It's that cyclical logic where, oh yeah, well, take 2 of ours, we'll take 3 of theirs, take 3 of theirs, we'll take 6 of theirs. It never ends. It's a cycle. It just keeps repeating itself. You put yourself in this position to get locked up and knocked up. And she's like, oh, well, they keep focusing on that because you're doing that now instead of being adults and actually going to your local table and talking to them about it and actually trying to get real change in these places. No. You're just here as tools for the Democratic Party. Like, this is a Biden voter all day. Like, it's the same way with a lot of her compatriots. A lot of urban centers. It's just going to be straight up Biden. Why? Because welcome to the plantation, folks.
Are like, well, those aren't people who are legitimately angry about what's happening. Those are people who just want to get stuff. Okay, well then, let's go with that. Let's say that's what it is. Let's ask ourselves why in this country in 2020, the financial gap between poor blacks and the rest of the world is at such a distance.
Okay, because she's saying here, I hear her about to go, poor and black is not synonymous, sweetheart. And I think that might be too big of a word for her. Black and poor is not the same thing. You got plenty of poor Caucasian people and other people of color. Yeah. It's a socio-economic thing, not a race thing. And if you want to go at that, well, I just gave you the blueprint for that. So, all you're here to do is just try to explain away for, those who truly are drenched in the white guilt about how, oh yeah, well, they're so sad. There's so much suffrage. And why, and how did they end up here, huh? Your homegirls, maybe even you, a whole, generations of single mothers missing the ability to deal with authority. Yeah. I mean, it's literally like South Park the movie where Sheila, Kyle's mom, is like, yeah, let's blame Canada. Why? Because we don't want to take the blame upon ourselves. And that if the feminine's good at anything, right? Deflection.
That food insecure, that clothing insecure, that they feel like their only shot, that they are shooting their shot by walking through a broken glass window to get what they need.
Are you kidding me? No. Yo, It's just like, yeah, yo. I mean, this was their only opportunity, you know. I mean, these young Oliver Twist looking motherfuckers are sitting there just they are going through these through these windows like the poor, like we've seen them pour inside, snatch and run. Okay, but no. She is trying to paint a completely different throwback picture of it, like, you know what I'm saying, like they got soot on their face from working in the coal mines all day. They's just babies. They's just babies. They're not the criminals that they actually are.
And then people want to talk about, well, there's plenty of people who pulled themselves up out of bootstraps and got it on their own. Why can't they do that? Let me explain to you something about economics in America.
Okay, before you explain something that you, let's be real, you don't have any idea of, a lot of wealth is intergenerational. It is about what your parents are able to leave you. If your parents didn't leave you shit, then you're not going to have shit. That's kind of how that works. It sucks. It really does. But, you know, like the environment and the circumstances into which you are born play a gigantic role in as to, you know, the quality of life you'll be able to obtain for yourself. And instead of, you know, look, hey, yeah, we got a lot of single moms who ain't got shit that are just like, you know, giving their kids ain't shit. Instead of looking at it that way, no. She's about to tell us about how capitalism works, I guess.
America. And I'm so glad that as a child I got an opportunity to spend time at Push where they taught me this, is that we must never forget that economics was the reason that black people were brought to this country.
Capitalism was the reason. It was just cheaper. At the time, it was cheaper to do it. At that time. Once again, we run across that 400 years. Shut up, lady. We ain't been down that road for the longest. And everything that's taken place since the signing of the Civil Rights Act has, like, you know, gone to show that like maybe the bell curve isn't too far off, huh?
We came to do the agricultural work in the South and the textile work in the North.
What do you mean we? I mean, like, once again, just because, like, a lineage check, homie, like, who, like, I mean, like, what plantation, you know what I'm saying? Like, what state? What state your people come from, huh?
Do you understand that? That's what we came to do. We came to do the agricultural work in the South and the...
See, that's the thing. You keep saying we, and it irritates me when they do that. They keep like, we. No, they. Even I say they because I'm not them. I've been fortunate enough to be the benefactor of, you know, that sacrifice, which is why I don't take it for granted. But, you know, let's skip a little bit further ahead because she keeps saying we, and it irritates the hell out of me.
While you were playing that round of Monopoly was taken from you. That was Tulsa. That was Rosewood. Those are places where we built black economic wealth, where we were self-sufficient, where we owned our stores, where we owned our property, and they burned them to the ground.
In all these years, there's been no attempt elsewhere. There's been no, like there hasn't been plenty of spaces where, you know, you can try to actually build a town. And building towns, man, it's a lot. That's a lot of work. I don't mean to be a jerk about it, but that's kind of a lot of work. Whereas, you know, capitalism doing its thing, hey, you know, come on, work over here. I'll pay you XYZ amount of dollars, enough for you and your family to be able to take care of each other, and you can just, you know, help me with my thing. But cool, that there's no shame in that. There's no shame at all. But you got all these folks that just sit here, run around with this very childlike idea of how things eventually panned out. Because yes, things like Rosewood and Tulsa, terrible, absolutely terrible. But in the time being since then, there's been plenty of opportunity to, you know, take another crack at it. By all means, go for it. But yeah, shoot, if nobody decides to do it, then who can you really feel some kind of way about?
So that's 450 years. So for 400 rounds of Monopoly.
Oh Christ. One Once again, a very, very adolescent way of looking at the world, at history, at finances, all very, very deep and nuanced situations. She believes she has just she got it locked up. Now, give us money.
You don't get to play at all. Not only do you not get to play, you have to play on the behalf of the person that you're playing against. You have to play and make money and earn wealth for them, and then you have to turn it over to them. So then for 50 years, you finally get a little bit and you're allowed to play, and every time that they don't like the way that you're playing, or that you're catching up, or that you're doing something to be self-sufficient, they burn your game. They burn your cards. They burn your monopoly money. And then, finally, at the release and the onset of that, they allow you to play and they say, okay, now you catch up. Now, at this point, the only way you're going to catch up in the game is if the person shares the wealth, correct? But what if every time you share the...
Oh, Christ. Okay, so once again, this is a matter of, like the thing she's most upset about is something that if you have the capacity and you have the ability, you can circumvent. You know, like, you can play their game. Yes, you can. Like, we've seen it work. We've seen it. We've witnessed it take place so over multiple times throughout, you know what I'm saying, like history, to a point where we are now, where, yeah, it is more socioeconomic than race-based. But the deal is that I feel like it always has been. It's just, it's been very convenient to keep a particular portion of the population under a victim mindset, under a victim mentality, and super emotional. And they will raise super emotional sons that will go out and do stupid things instead of logical things, and end up with them sitting there crying about how, you know, oh my goodness, how dare the police. So, guys, with that being said, I stuck it out with this one as long as I could. But, yeah, this is ridiculous, okay? It's not Monopoly, sweetie. It's literally, like, history and environment-based. It has to do with the decisions that individuals make. And, you know, shoot, why didn't you go make the next Tulsa? So, not to be a dick about it, I'm just saying. I know why, but I'm just saying. So, with that being said, we're going to bring this one to an end. All the internet stuff. If you'd like to toss it a like, dislike, go ahead, do that too. Nobody's scared of you. Sub if you enjoy my fantastic voice. You want to get videos like this every single day. Share, because sharing is caring. And YouTube and Bitchute and like aren't the biggest fans of your boy over here for very obvious reasons. Bang the bell for notifications. Get something from the Teespring and speak. Let me know. What do you guys think in the comments? Yeah, it's just, like I said, not much of substance, particularly when you take into account that, you know, people do have choices to make. Were like roadblocks thrown up back then? Of course. Have roadblocks been thrown up without a doubt? But we've also seen those roadblocks circumvented as well as propped up by individuals, you know, that you share a lot of stereotypical characteristics with. All right, like, seriously, because it is a matter of family. It is a matter of, hey, do we have strong families? Are these families able to provide for each other and, you know, take care of each other? And unfortunately, hey, you guys were raised to be like, nah, I don't need no man. And here we are. But you may disagree with me, and that's what my comment section's for. Until the next one.